Hello and welcome back to Pizza and a Football Argument. I'm Chad Conine, your fearless host. I'm here with Tye Barrett and Jacob Robinson. Following Baylor's first loss of the season, the Bears crashed and burned in Stillwater, Oklahoma on a cold night, and what can you say? It was going so well, and then it all came apart. I don't really feel that way.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to stir up the football argument part of this. The pizza part of it was taken care of by Nizza Pizza today. I got a supreme pizza, pepperoni and sausage pizza, and a cheese pizza.
My favorite
and
pizza.
It tastes really good, and I'm looking forward to savoring my piece as I turn these guys loose to talk about Baylor and their levels of disappointment. So why don't we get right to that, you guys? Maybe just talk about the emotions that you felt following the game and how you feel now as Baylor fans about what has transpired.
Well, I was feeling pretty rotten until one of my friends called me and said that his girlfriend had just broken up with him. And that helped me put it in perspective a little bit, that,
Right.
Hey, it's just a game. My wife is still happy. So
Yeah, that's the most important thing.
that's the most important.
Wait. Whose girlfriend broke up with him, and would I be interested in the girl?
No.
Sorry, go ahead. Keep going.
My feelings. I didn't watch the game, which was because of a job I had on Saturday, which was for the best. I got updates on my phone and followed that, but I luckily didn't watch the game. And even getting updates, I felt pretty distraught. And I think the weather explains my emotions the best, in that cold, rainy weather is my favorite type of weather, but it's very dreary and it's very sad, and I am very dreary and sad in reflection on this game. But at the same time, this is still my favorite Baylor football team. This is still
the best Baylor football team.
And we're a 9-1 season, and so I have this it's sad, it's disappointing, like you're supposed to feel, but I'm optimistic and I'm still excited about the rest of the season.
Yeah, 9-1's pretty good.
9-1's pretty good. 9-1's great.
11-1 would be really good too.
Well, yeah.
11-1 would be great.
11-1 would be the best.
Baylor wouldn't be Baylor if there weren't a little bit of division, with the whole Baptist thing and all of the debate that has stirred over the years,
Right.
and evolution and things like that. How we're going to teach that subject.
Right.
Well, and there was an article posted on, is this the same old Baylor,
Yeah.
type of thing, and I think there's nobody more spiteful than a hurt fan,
Mm-hmm.
Where do you guys stand on that? Is that,
Well, just to say, is this the same old Baylor? Same old Baylor would have been if we lost much earlier in the season to a much worse.
You see a lot of it on Twitter, and it's funny because it's a lot of old Baylor fans. So friends that I went to college with, 3 years ago, that are oh, it's just, we're gonna go back through this again. There was a guy who called in on a radio show today and said that we need to get rid of Phil Bennett. He said, we don't have the right defense, and I'm sitting here going, this is the best defense we've had in ages, and it wasn't necessarily the defense's problem alone on Saturday.
All things considered, the defense did pretty
Yeah,
well.
they did pretty well. And the radio host explained it well. Oklahoma State's a good defense. It's like a dam. We had some cracks, and they eventually burst just wide open, and that's what happens. But I've seen a lot of people say, same old Baylor, same old. But I've also seen more people say, it's not the same old Baylor, shut up. So, which is encouraging to me, and it's encouraging to see voters, even in the polls, and still vote in that way. Say, it's not the same old Baylor, we shouldn't drop them too far. Don't count them out. One loss is one loss.
Well, the same old Baylor would have lost to a Rice at the beginning of the season.
Right.
To totally get off on the wrong foot and then almost win a couple of games, but find a way to lose it in the end.
Same old Baylor would have lost to K-State.
Yeah, this is totally different.
Yeah.
Same old Baylor wouldn't have even been in the K-State game.
Yeah.
This totally different team.
I agree. The idea, this is definitely a new Baylor era, and I think the most encouraging thing that Baylor has going for it is that everybody's still pushing in the same direction.
Yeah.
And it's hard to see it's hard to see that not continuing. When you go beyond whatever bowl game Baylor plays in this season, you go beyond recruiting, you go into spring practice, everybody's still going to be pushing in the same direction. And I've seen other schools that I'm close to get beyond that fantastic season and then have things start to unravel.
Yeah.
And I think you have a solid enough foundation and the kind of coach that's committed to here enough to where the future is still the future, and it's not diminished by what happened Saturday night on a brutally cold night. I wouldn't want to be playing football, you know.
Yeah.
And I like the cold, you know, but
Yeah.
it was bone chilling, don't want to move type of cold. Let me move on to the next point that I want to make and that I want to ask you guys about. I actually firmly believe, and I know this is the glass half full perspective, but I am more convinced than ever that Baylor is in the middle of a 2-year narrative where, you know, the stadium opens at the start of next year, and they probably, if they finish out strong, they probably start next season, maybe even in the top 10, top 15, almost certainly, right?
Yeah.
And so then next season, all the focus is on if you can maintain this momentum, if you can keep winning like this, you're not talking about going to the Fiesta Bowl. You're talking about playing in the college football playoff and being one of those 4 teams.
Yeah.
To that end, I think losing on Saturday night and playing in the Cotton Bowl against LSU rather than winning the Big 12, provided that the Big 12 champion doesn't go to the national championship game.
Right.
But let's say the Big 12 champion goes to the Fiesta Bowl and plays Fresno State, and the Big 12 representative in the Cotton Bowl plays LSU. Well, I'm telling you right here and right now, going forward, Baylor is a hell of a lot better off playing LSU in their bowl game than they are playing Fresno State. What do you think?
I completely disagree. I don't care who they play. An undefeated season would speak much higher than a playing LSU in the bowl game. I think if we're trying to find silver linings to a loss, we can do that. But to say, as I've heard other people say, that it's actually a good thing that we lost, that's ridiculous. It's never a good thing to lose.
Right.
We can find silver linings, but the best option is to win every game that you play.
Yeah, I think I disagree with you, Ty. So I agree with Chad in that I think a Cotton Bowl against LSU, which is essentially a home game. I mean, the fan bases are so close. It's a great game for us. It's a challenging game. Yes, we didn't win out, and yeah, sure, maybe you can call it just finding a silver lining or trying to accept what happened to us. But I think that's what it is. You accept that you lost the game, and that's okay. I mean, it sucks, and it's going to suck because the losing sucks. But you look at that game, people will look back on us and go, they shared they shared the Big 12 title. If we finish out strong, shared the Big 12 title. The champion, the other champion, the co-champion, played a crappy team in a crappy bowl. Fresno State's not a crappy team, but played a less impressive team in a more impressive bowl.
We're a long way from California. I think we can go ahead and call a spade a spade.
Yeah, a crappy team in a big name bowl, but not really a big name bowl, as opposed to Baylor playing LSU, an SEC powerhouse who just beat A&M and made jokes of them, playing an LSU team, and people look at that, and if we beat them, people go, this is a real deal team. Well, they can look at OSU, who plays Fresno State, and they can go, this may be a real deal team, but we can't base it off of this bowl game.
Yeah.
So long term, and yeah, maybe it's silver lining, but I think that's just the way you have to look at it. You can't focus on that.
All right, well, that's all for this week for Pizza and a Football Argument. Needs a Pizza, again, is where we got the pizza this week, and it was delicious. We will see you next week.